What's up, everybody? It's your man's Harry B. Listen, man, you are watching TLP Sports Club on YouTube. Like I said, it's your man's Harry B. The B means billion, guys. So thank you so much for joining me here, guys. This is TLP Live. If you are catching this show on Facebook or some other place that I am not, just know that we live on YouTube and YouTube primarily and on Twitter. So you can catch me primarily on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to, when you come on YouTube, or you can find us on YouTube, that's where all the conversation is happening. If it's happening elsewhere, I'm not really over there. I'm primarily on YouTube, so you can catch me on I don't know if they still call it the communities page on YouTube, but I do a lot of communication there as well. But mostly I go live, and here we are. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this here show, guys. This is breaking news. We got breaking news. I want to say shout out to DC Carson Music for giving me that info on the wire. The Browns are going to be benching Joe Flacco, and they're going to be activating Dylan Gabriel at their starting position. We have to talk about that. Can Prime save the Colorado Buffs season? They're not that far off. If you remember last year, there was a lot of 3-loss teams that we were seeing in the postseason. All right, so it's not too late to save the season, but can they do that? And then finally, I want to talk about what is or who's the best college football team. There's a reason why I want to talk about that, because if you remember college football the way it used to be, I don't know if I miss it or if I'm missing something, or the grounds are getting kind of even, or the field's getting even, but I don't see a team that is pulling away, that is dominant. Somewhere, I don't know if I've gotten spoiled by college football, but I don't see a flat out dominant college football team where I can sit back on Saturday and say, oh, if they play this team, I know they're about to whoop this team. I don't see that no more. So I guess football, is it more fun today, or was it more fun back in the day? We're going to talk about all of that. And, if we got time, okay? So let's go ahead and get this show started. But we got to run the intro. So let's just go ahead and run the intro now.
BWB. Bandwagon Buffs.
That's right. It's your man's Harry Billion. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as I upload it to YouTube. All right, family, I got to go ahead and get into this video real quick. So that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. So let's go ahead and just get right to work. Please don't forget to subscribe if you are not subscribed. All right, I do much appreciate it. Like I said, the breaking news was at the top of the show. So for those of you who love breaking news and that's all you come here for, you're not here for the conversations. You don't want to hear me yabba dabba do. It's all good. You got the info you wanted. See you later. But for the rest of y'all who love the conversations, you love the yabba dabba do, let's go ahead and get right into it. The Browns benching Flacco. We're right on time. We are right on time. Let's just get right into it. Let's not waste any time at all. Let's go ahead and get right into it, because we are pretty much right on time based on what we've been talking about here on this channel. Not just ourselves, but others. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm honest. I don't just say, hey, I'm the reason and I'm the only one that said it. When I'm right, I'm right. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But we did join the chorus of people that said that that the Cleveland Browns were gonna get rid of Joe Flacco pretty much right around this time. So everyone that said that, salute to you. You already knew what was going to happen. You knew that he was going to throw picks. Okay, you said it. We all said it. Joe Flacco was going to be throwing picks. I don't know what it is about the Cleveland Browns. They knew that this was coming. I mean, come on now. All right, we were all screaming, hey, man, the guy is old. We're not trying to age shame, but in sports, you're going to get a certain amount of age shame. All right, when guys have had their chance, this is a young man's game. So when guys have had their chance, you can tell what's going to go down. So it wasn't like somebody would just say, oh, he's 40 years old, he can't do it. If he can do it, he could do it. All right, keep in mind, Aaron Rodgers ain't being benched, he can still play. Joe Flacco, I came on here last time and I told y'all Joe Flacco was going to be benched. I said it, okay? And when he is benched, it would not be his fault. And he's been benched, but it's not his fault. I'm just going to start off with that. It ain't Joe Flacco's fault for his benching. Did he throw interceptions? Yes. Can he run enough to get out of the pocket or to elude the defensive guys that are coming after him? No. All right. But does he have an arm that can still serve the ball where it needs to be? Yes. He made a few mistakes. I get it. But while others are going to be saying, I told you so, we should have never put this much real estate or this much interest, this much value on Joe Flacco. We should have been preparing the young Bucks to start this season. Now here we are. We are here now. While others are saying that, I want to let you know that we're going 50-50 on this. All right? We 50-50 on this. We got to go 50-50. Because it ain't Joe Flacco's fault all the way. Now, should it have been more, let's say, forward thinking to say, why waste all of this time? Because some people are going to say this. Why are you going to waste all of this time messing around with Joe Flacco when you knew already what Joe Flacco was capable of doing and you still went with Joe Flacco? Was it a hate for Shador? Was it you not trusting Dylan Gabriel? All right, he wasn't ready, so now he's ready. Is he really ready? Is Dylan Gabriel the 5 weeks, right, that he laid off watching Joe Flacco throw interceptions and not being able to run? Was that enough to get him ready to say, okay, my mind frame is on this now? Time will tell. But also hear this. Okay, let me not get into that other part yet. Like I said, Joe Flacco still has an arm. He still probably knows the offense more than Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders, right? Those are the three quarterbacks. Okay, we also have to throw another question in this. Who's quarterback number 2? We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but just hang on to that. Let me just flesh out this whole Joe Flacco, all right, being bench situation, and it's not being his fault. Before I do that, I just want to say salute to my guy, Ty Smith. Dallas is in the building. Put some respect on Dallas. What up, my Texas folks? Salute to you, Ty Smith. All right. So, Joe Flacco knows the playbook better than the 2 quarterbacks that are behind him or that were behind him. All right. Now he's not the number 1 anymore, so I can't say that are. You know what I'm saying? That's that English language situation. But yeah, but was it his fault? No. The receivers are terrible. I told you guys. I think I'm batting I told you 98%. All right. I think my last live, no, the last one I did, I was preaching yesterday. Yesterday we was preaching the word of God. All right. But I think the one right before the word of God, right before that, y'all know every time we have a live, y'all know every time when God says go, I just go. Okay. So I'm not going to apologize for anybody that came for football and got the word. I ain't going to apologize for that. It is what it is. So anyway, but yeah, I told you, I came on here and I said, hey man, they are going to make a decision to go away from Joe Flacco. They're going to go to Dylan Gabriel. And here we are. We are here today. What is today's date? This is Wednesday, October the 1st. So October football is now going to be Dylan Gabriel. All right. It was predicted by many and TLP Sports Club. But just right before this, I said they're about to go away from him. And here we are. So keep in mind, I said it was not his fault. All right. Now, let's put that away. Let's now dig into the nitty-gritty, the nuances that entails all of this. Forgive me if you are listening and not watching. I just had to take a drink. You know what I'm saying? I got this water bottle up here. It's a black see-through water bottle. So I take a drink every now and then. So if you hear dead air and you are listening on the podcast, please forgive me for the dead air. But we have to talk about this in many different forms, or we have different parts of it to discuss. Number one, thank you, DC, for bringing this up. DC said to make sure you also take care of this angle that Deshaun Watson may be right on the cusp of coming back. So that is an angle that we have to discuss. All right. If you go on the channel, on our shorts page, every time Deshaun Watson put up a video, I also put up that video to let y'all know, hey, look at this guy. He's practicing. He's getting ready. He's coming. So he looks pretty decent. It doesn't look like that Achilles. All right, that's what I call him. I call him Achilles. But it doesn't look like Mr. Achilles is being held back by his injury, by his Achilles injury. It seems like he's healed and he might be coming back. So does that mean we go with Dillon Gabriel now to get ready for Deshaun Watson, right? Okay, if you know the Cleveland Browns, you kind of understand that they're always one step ahead of things, right? But it's almost like a setup because people who are a step ahead, those are the people that you think are smart and they are keeping a step ahead because that is actually helping them to be better in the future. But with this Cleveland Browns team, I don't know, because we started with Joe Flacco and everybody was saying Joe Flacco is not that dude. Why are you going to waste how many weeks of football that we just played? Now we're in October football. November is almost here. The football season is almost gone and I'm getting sad already. I don't even want to think about it, but we are now, this is October the 1st. You know what I'm saying? And here we are. Joe Flacco is going to be benched. Let's go to the information, then we can, break it all down. Okay, Browns to start Dillon Gabriel at QB, bench Joe Flacco after 1 and 3 starts. So that's 4 of 4. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back. No more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. So his season is over. His career probably is next. I mean, we don't know what other team are going to try to come after him, if he's going to take that offer, or if they're going to make him number 2. If you bench him and make him number 2, then Shador has to be that much farther back than we all think. All right, we'll make a move at quarterback. So now here it is. What's the writer? What is the poetry? Let's listen to the poetry. Cleveland Brown head coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed to Cleveland players Wednesday morning. All right, today's Wednesday, that Dillon Gabriel will start this week versus the Vikings. Sources tell CBS Sports. Matt Zenitz. The change comes shortly after Coach Kevin Stefanski sidestepped questions about potentially changing quarterbacks following Week 4's 34-10 loss to the Lions that dropped Cleveland to 1-3 on the 2025 season. Gabriel's first start would be in Week 5 when the Browns face the Vikings in London. He will be the first quarterback to make his first NFL start outside of the United States, according to CBS Sports research. So if you, you do trivias and stuff like that, and they say who was the first American quarterback to start, his NFL season in America, yada, yada, yada. Don't say Dillon Gabriel because he's not starting in the United States. He started outside of the United States. That is such a weird trivia question. The Browns are yet to score more than 17 points in a game this season. Out of 33 qualifying quarterbacks, Flacco ranks last in the NFL in passer rating, 60.3, completion rate 58.1%, and yards per attempt 5.1. I mean, when you start, I told you when you go to stats, it's hard to argue these stats, especially when I'm saying it's not his fault. And then we go through these stats and the numbers are saying, hey, Harry B, you don't know what you're talking about, because if we go to the numbers and you say Joe Flacco is ranked ranks last in the NFL, it's hard to argue those numbers. But that's if you are a numbers only person. If you don't care about nuances, then yeah, you can fry me all you want. That it seems like, according to the numbers, he's the reason why. Okay, and 31st in expected points and added per play, and 31st in expected points added per play, negative 0.13.31. His 6 interceptions are the second most picks by a quarterback in the league. Second most picks in the league. Were all of those picks his fault? No, because you have to consider communication, the lack of communication, missed step by the wide receivers. So again, I tell you, the numbers don't always tell you the full story, okay? Only the Titans have scored fewer points than the Browns this season. In Gabriel, the Browns are turning to a rookie, but one who has played plenty of football. Sure, Gabriel, we'll talk about that. Gabriel, 24, played 6 years in college at UCF, 2019 to 2021, Oklahoma at 2022 and 2023 to 2023, and in Oregon, 2024. He finished third in 2024 Heisman Trophy voting and led the Ducks to the college football playoffs, number 1 overall seed. Gabriel's 189 touchdowns, 189 touchdowns accounted for passing, rushing, and receiving are the most in college for FBS history. All right. That's the football bowl subdivision. Sorry, guys. And his 63 career starts are most by a quarterback in FBS history. I mean, if you listen to those numbers and you look at the numbers again, if you're a numbers person, then nuances don't matter to you. But yeah, those numbers will say, dang, this dude, why in the world would Joe Flacco start over him, right? But yeah, like I said, if you're only a numbers person, then those numbers will impress you and be wondering why the heck would they start Joe Flacco over a young stud like that. But the numbers don't always tell the story. Trust me what I'm trying to tell you. Cleveland selected Gabriel, blah, 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 blah. Let me not do all of this reading. Why not? Cleveland selected Gabriel in the 3rd round, 94th overall of the 2025 NFL draft, and picked Colorado star Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, in the 5th round, 144th overall. They joined a quarterback room that eventually swelled to 5 players on the active roster with Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Tyler Huntley. The Browns also have Deshaun Watson on the reserve, physically unable to perform list. Okay, so now let's see. As the preseason wore on, Gabriel secured his spot at Flacco's primary backup. Okay, he completed 13 of 18 passes for 143 yards and an interception in preseason week number 2 against the Eagles, and 12 of his 19 passes for 129 yards and a touchdown in preseason week 3 against the Rams. Gabriel has also relieved Flacco at the end of 2 blowout losses in the regular season. He completed all 3 of his passes for 19 yards and a touchdown in a 41-17 week 2 loss to the Ravens, and had 1 incomplete pass against the Lions. Sanders has been listed as an active emergency third quarterback in all 4 games this season. Okay, so let's talk about this. Is Dillon Gabriel the right person to go with right now? Absolutely, because he is their number 2 quarterback. This is how we break it down, okay? There is no other way to go. I know all of you Shedeur fans are going to be crying and whispering, what the heck? Why are they going with Dillon Gabriel and not Shedeur? Because he's obviously the better quarterback. All right, if he's the better quarterback, then you know what I'm saying. Then that means that the Cleveland Browns are committing a sin right now, according to the Colorado fans. But it is what it is. We are here now. Dillon Gabriel now. Here goes the story about Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel is not, I mean, according to the numbers, he should have been the better quarterback in that room, right? Because if you are number 1 in football bowl subdivisions history in the categories that we just talked about, then there's no reason why you are not put in a situation where you should have been number 1 to begin with. But like I said, we are here now. So what is it that we are expecting, or what is it that we should know about Dillon Gabriel's strengths? Dillon Gabriel according to what we saw and what we've seen so far about his consistency, he gets the ball out pretty quickly. He can sling the ball pretty nicely. The one thing that he does fail to do is to try to get the ball to where it goes all the time more accurately. Okay, so that is one thing to think about. Let me see. Okay, so some of his strengths, according to the poetry. Let's go to the poetry. Let's go back to the poetry. Forgive me. Let's go back to the poetry so we can see this together. And when I say poetry, I'm talking about the write-up from the people that write this stuff up. All right, Gabriel's strengths. Gabriel is patient in the pocket. Okay, it's his clearest strength on film. Unlike the vast majority of quarterbacks in today's game who flee at the first indication of pressure or when their first read is covered, Gabriel will stand and scan. All right, maybe sometimes to a fault. When he needed to operate outside the pocket, Gabriel has proven to be capable. On those design rollouts, he demonstrated surprising velocity while throwing on the run with quality. Gabriel's accuracy is a plus. It's a plus? Although I can't label him as surgical with his ball placement. I don't know that he's known for his accuracy. That may not be an accurate statement. All right. I think that's a weakness about his accuracy. Gabriel's arm is okay. So these are his weaknesses. Gabriel's arm is not atrocious. By the NFL standards, it'll be average on a good day and slightly below average on a bad one. There are many times on film when he displayed the ability to really drive a ball through a closing window or stretch a defense vertically more than 25 yards. That you got to keep that in mind, okay? When everything's operating well with structure, almost all of his passes will be on time and to the correct receiver based on where coverage dictates he should throw the ball. When that's not the case, all right, things can get ugly. All right, and obviously that is mostly, for the most part, not the case. And let me just pause real quick to say what's up with my guy Peter, Investor M. What up with you? Hope all is well, Peter. Thank you so much for joining the live. I appreciate you. All right, now look, expect the Browns to at least try to learn to lean more into the run game, especially if game scripts allows them to. That could be the case against the Vikings' struggling offense. Plus, Minnesota ranks 22nd in yards per rush allowed, 4.5 over the past 2 weeks. Quinshon Judkins has averaged 19.5 carries and 88 rushing yards per game. Okay. All right. So this is also what does this say? When the Browns do go to the air, expect plenty of quick hit passes. That means dink and dunkins passes in an attempt to get Gabriel in rhythm. The types of throws he thrived on at Oregon. Judkins running back Jerome Ford and tight ends David Yoku and Harold Finney Jr. could be early top targets. What does this mean for Shedeur? All right, Todd, what you say? That's against the twos this week. That's against the twos this week would be all ones coming at him. He would be speedy. He would be sped up this week. All right, we're gonna talk about that. Trust me. So, what does this mean about Shedeur? What does the poetry say about Shedeur? At the least, this shows Stefanski's willingness to make a change at the game's most important position. I wouldn't start crediting somebody something that I don't know if this is his credit, because I think a lot of people were calling for the change way before this. When you go down 3 and you're struggling like that, bro, people was calling for the change, and now you're going to credit him for the change that he's at least willing. Y'all don't know what's happening in those meetings with the organization. All right, so I don't know that it was that easy for him. He's like some type of genius. I don't know about all of that, but anyways, all right. So let's see, and it makes sense for the team to see what it has behind Flacco, who is 40 years old. All right, and the Browns are not going to contend for a playoff spot this year, and it makes sense for the team to see what it has behind Flacco, who is 40 years old and on a 1-year contract, 1-year deal. That Stefanski made his move this early portends well for Sanders getting his shot at some point this season. Okay, we'll see. When exactly that remains to be determined. Okay, the Browns will want to give Gabriel a decently long runway. They drafted him with a pick in the top 100 after all and made him Flacco's primary backup. Coaches will say that they want to win. For all intents and purposes, though, this season is now on player development and assessment, especially at the game's most important position. The staff needs time to assess Gabriel, and Gabriel deserves time to acclimate to the NFL's level. All right. So are we going to be crediting Stefanski some type of genius? No, I don't think so. Because number one, you wasted the season. You wasted time. That's how I look at it. What was the point? All right. So if Flacco would have won, then I say, okay, we're about winning. Flacco lost. Now here we are. Taking a drink, guys. Excuse me. But yeah, so here we are. We knew this was going to happen, right? Week number 5. Now we got a new quarterback in Dillon Gabriel. So Dillon Gabriel's he's not the most accurate quarterback. So accuracy is not, I would not say is a part of his strengths. All right. Because the things that you look for, so when a quarterback is under duress, can he get the ball where it needs to go? Dillon Gabriel is a dink and dunk quarterback. All right. He's a dink and dunk quarterback. So when the first teams are coming at him, can he still be accurate? Can he still get the ball where it needs to go? Now, we know we know part of the answer to that. It's a yes and it's a no. You understand what I'm saying? It's a yes and it's a no. Because at the end of the day, we know that Dillon Gabriel, when he's rushed, he doesn't make the best decisions. And their picks are going to start coming. Because he is not that accurate. And the way that he throws the ball, you're gonna get bounce offs just like you saw before, all right, in practice and in the little short preseason games that we saw, right? When they start coming for him, you will see that he is not the most accurate quarterback, and even though he's a pocket quarterback, right? When they rush him out of that pocket, he's too short to see down the field. Okay. All right, Peter, what you said? Let me see. The plan for the Browns: win the least amount of games in order to get Arch Manning in the draft. We all know that Arch is not like that. So I don't know if that was a good plan. They found out real quick that Arch Manning is not that guy. All right. Arch Manning can score 10 touchdowns against the FCS games, FCS quarterback teams, or the group of 5 teams. He can score as many because Texas's defense is nice. So yeah, Texas's defense is going to give him the ball back, and the offense is nice too. But we know that Arch Manning ain't like that. When you put him against good talent, all right, Arch Manning got to play a decent enough talent to see what he can really do, because we know when he get flustered also, like Dillon Gabriel, he ain't that dude. All right, we do know a quarterback that's in that room that can handle pressure. We're not there yet, so just wait a minute. All right. So Harry B was, my guy Peter said Harry B was right about when they will play Flacco and Shador during the season. All right, we all guessed it, but yeah, I came on here I think one show ago and said after that last game and said they were about to make a change, and here we are. They've made a change. Carbano and structural. What'd you say? This is that Dillon would take the place of Flacco by throwing interceptions. They can't hide that that midget no more. I told Maddie, is midget the right thing to say or a small person? Y'all forgive me, please. If you know what I'm saying, I just read something out loud that I don't want to disrespect small people. I think they call small people. All right, Corbano. Tommy Alvin, Peter, please do that so 12 can leave. Okay. And Ty, what you say? We will find out this weekend with Texas versus OU. Oh, okay. Is OU's nice this season, right? Because OU, boy, OU, Lord Jesus, you be thinking like OU, y'all should come back to us. Come back to the Big 12 because y'all stinking up the SEC. I don't know why y'all even went to the SEC, but y'all should go ahead and come on back here and at least give us a chance to flex a little bit because we get a high value team that is on our level, but it's still playing like us and it's not over there getting stomped over in the SEC. So yeah, but hopefully, when they play Texas, it ain't like they're playing a Big 12 team because I hope that they are at. So you tell me, Ty, do you think that OU is at SEC level this year? Are they playing SEC football or are they still playing Big 12 football? Because I don't want the Big 12 to be represented in their personnel, and then you get Arch Manning looking all spectacular against them. Because then that'll just play right into the same thing that I'm talking about. So, I hope that OU, and I haven't really watched their games as much. There's so much football going on Saturday that it's like you got to choose which one. So I'm trying to keep up with the Big 12, right? So Big 12 is competitive, but yeah. So, okay, so yes, OU is playing SEC football. Good. That's good. I haven't followed them this season, but that is good. If that's the case, then yes, we'll see this Saturday how they do against how Arch Manning does. But anyways, I don't care how he does. He's not ready. He ain't that dude. Stay one more year in college. You got to stay one more year in college. You come out. The Browns better not touch this. You can't touch this. If you touch this, then we know for a fact that you did not want Shador. You just did this for whatever reason. You were doing somebody a favor or you were trying to do a P. Diddy. You were trying to take Shador and shelve him so that nobody else would get him. And then we would say you were playing Mr. Sabotage because you have been sabotaging his career since he came into that building. So if you go out, you get Arch Manning knowing that Shador is a 1,000 times better than Arch Manning, and you go out next year and get Arch Manning and bring him into that fold, then we know that you want to sabotage Shador's career. That'll be blatantly sabotage. Because Shador is right there in your building, and you're going to go get a worse quarterback out of Arch Manning. For what reason? Because he's white and he's right? Stop playing with me. Anyway, Peter, why are we pausing? Did I say something pause-worthy? It is what it is. So let's get back to this Dillon Gabriel situation. Dillon Gabriel is going to be throwing picks. When he's rushed, Dillon Gabriel is not okay. Is that going to be like a Jackson Dart situation where he gets in the game and then he proves everybody the first game he wins, right, against a lesser Vikings team, and then everybody's like, "Oh, we have arrived." That is a possibility, and I want you to look for that. All right, keep in mind, all of you Giants fans that are out there, keep in mind, this kind of stuff can happen. I don't watch football like most people watch football, but a lot of y'all Giants fans are going to solidify Jackson Dart and say, okay, now we're ready. Not saying he can't play and he can't do it, because he can. But the New York Giants have a weird way of treating people, right? You win one game, and then you start having a difficult time for the rest of the season, and then all of a sudden, they start talking about getting rid of you instead of developing what they saw to put you over Russell Wilson. Developing that, they're going to treat you like Indiana Jones, who's over there with the coach, and he's lighting it up. So watch that dynamic also, because people get excited when we're winning, and then they start losing faith in you when we start to lose. You understand what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Going back to Dillon Gabriel can definitely come out, right, and get the luck of the draw or the luck of the, I don't want to say midget. Get the luck of the, right? I think those are small people too. All right. So what if he gets lucky and he wins with the Vikings? A lot of y'all gonna be like, oh, Shador ain't gonna play, or y'all start the narrative and how Dillon Gabriel is so much better than Shador, because that's exactly what the media wanted, and it got what the media got what they wanted. All right, because if you saw I believe it was the same Vikings. Okay, if you saw the Vikings game where Shador laid an egg, you all of a sudden forgot the fact that Shador won that other game. You forgot all the great things that he did the week prior or 2 weeks prior to that. It wiped all your memories away, you media people and some of y'all fans. And y'all started saying how much better Dillon Gabriel is. He won the game. He's sitting on the sidelines, joking and looking all happy with Joe Flacco. And y'all forgot that we got this Shador who's the man. Y'all forgot all of that. Forget about the fact that he may be arrogant. And I think he is. Okay? Forget about the fact that he's arrogant like his dad. Okay? He says some things out of pocket. Some of the things that you're thinking, don't say it. All right? Then people will think you're arrogant. So forget about all of that. Can he play? Is he better than Dillon Gabriel? My answer is emphatically yes. Okay? Yes. I stand on business, and I'm batting a 98 on this channel. When I say something here, it happens. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to back up off the mic so I don't sound like, my mic doesn't start to break up. But when I'm trying to tell you, most of the stuff I say on this channel happens. Is Dillon Gabriel better than Shador Sanders, even though he has the best record in the FBS? No. Dillon Gabriel is not better than Shador Sanders. Stop playing with me. I didn't even check the email, and I didn't even tell y'all can call in. All right, let me make sure. Okay. All right, Wild Dog, if you're listening, I got you. All right, man. And I'm going to do more than that, too. So don't worry about it. All you had to do was just hit me, Wild Dog, and be like, hey, yo, Harry B, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. I was going to be on it anyways. I got you. But yeah, man, come on here if you can. I should have put this up in the beginning, but I didn't. Join TLPlive@gmail.com. That is the email for you to call in, for you to come onto the show. My Cash App is right there. $ TLP Sports Club. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for blessing the brother. Let's keep it moving. All right, so look, Dillon Gabriel is a good quarterback, but he is not better than the third-string quarterback who is Shador. I believe Shador is still a phenomenal quarterback. I believe he is a franchise quarterback, and he's obviously with the wrong franchise. And yes, what's his name, Yardman? You can come on here, you can clown me all you want, but my position on Shador Sanders has not changed yet. All right. So, Wild Dog, if you're here, you're listening to me. I got you. I just read the email again. I understand now what you did. I'm gonna say more than that. Trust me. All right. So, but yeah, man. So I just wanted you to understand. I want y'all to understand that Shador Sanders, my position here on TLP Sports Club, Shador Sanders is the better quarterback in that room. They went with Joe Flacco because they thought they could win now, but they understand. All right. They obviously understand that he is, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to win this season. They're not going to go to the playoff. It's a bust. It's already over. But now here we go. So all that preseason stuff, drama that we went through, it's all over now. Now you're getting dudes that are earning their paychecks. Now dudes are going to go out and try to, cause you harm. Now they're going to be violent. Now they got nothing but violent thoughts on their minds. Okay? Because some guys you can still save your season at this point. October football everything is not lost. All right, everything is not lost because yes, you can lose 3 games and still get in, depending on how things play out. Trust me, everything's not lost. But we know that the Cleveland Browns going with Dillon Gabriel, this is not the way to say. This is not a decision to say, okay, now we're ready to win the season and go to the playoff. This is not that decision. All right, they're making this decision primarily to say, all right, man, look. The season is a bust. we're now trying to see if when we go back into the preseason in 2026, right? When we go into that preseason, are we going with Dylan Gabriel, or are we going to give Shedeur Sanders an opportunity, and we're going to try to see who we got? Even though they should have done this in the preseason. You could have figured out who you had in the preseason. But the way that y'all run your organization is not the way that most NFL teams run their organizations, all right? This is now the time for you to do that. So that's why you're doing this. So I totally understand this is the reason why you're doing this. So you're not doing some type of, great football minds and you're making these decisions based on, now, you know what I'm saying, like some type of thing that you knew. We all knew this. We have I can't even say we have the lesser football mind. We're not the professionals being paid to do this thing, but we told you this was coming. So if we could see this coming, how come you couldn't see it coming? You are the professionals getting paid millions of dollars for this stuff. How come you couldn't see it coming? You could have had your rookies play. All right? They're hungry. They're hungry hyenas. They're more hungry than Joe Flacco is. You could have saved yourself the time, and you could have inserted one of your rookies. But in the preseason, you could have got them ready. So can we say Dylan Gabriel is ready? Was he sitting on the bench enough to get him ready? We'll see. But now, like I told you, defenses are now violent. October football is going to be more violent than September football. So they're going to be coming for him. So it's not too much longer now. We should be able to see Shedeur Sanders. But is Shedeur Sanders number 2? Or is it Dylan Gabriel? Are they switching places? Is it going to be Dylan Gabriel and Flacco? Or is it going to be, let's put Flacco, let's bury Flacco at the bottom, bring up the 2 rookies? Is that what they're doing? Something tells me that that's not what they're doing. Especially if Watson is inching up. But again, if Watson does not play this season, then we got to just let Watson go. We're going to have to eat that money and just cut him off the team. Just eat the money. You got to do something. All right? Quinlita, what you say? If he would have gone to the Ravens, he probably would have been starting this week. Yeah, I did a short and I put that short out. Let's address that real quick, because Lamar Jackson has a hamstring injury, so he's going to be out. And if you know what level of hamstring injury it is, unfortunately, I didn't read too deep into the article, but with the hamstring, you know, it's at least two to 3 weeks or more, because hamstrings don't just pop. You don't just pop your hamstring and then you come back, especially being a mobile quarterback. That means you're going to be limited. All right. So Shedeur could have started. But what did I tell y'all? I said that Shedeur not choosing either the Philadelphia Eagles or the Ravens is because of the franchise that he wanted, franchise quarterback that he wanted to be. It was not about playing time. Unless your Kemp, Coach Prime, who's a gold jacket, maybe his gold jacket at that time was too bright. He couldn't see past certain things that us people, us insignificant people can see. Lamar Jackson is a mobile quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a mobile quarterback. You know, mobile quarterbacks get hurt. So at some point, you're going to play. So if it's about playing time, why would you convince yourself that you were not going to play for 13 years? What are we talking about? What? What mobile quarterback you know in the NFL played 10 straight years without a nick or knack or nothing on him? I don't remember any mobile quarterback in the NFL that didn't spring a toe, didn't get no turf toe, didn't get no hamstring, didn't get banged up or anything. I don't remember any. Drop some in the chat if you remember any of them. So I know for a fact, as soon as it happened, I said, no way. That is not about playing time. Shedeur would have played. he was going for that franchise face. Okay, the face of the organization. So if he was thinking face of the organization, no matter how many times Lamar Jackson or Jalen Jalen, whatever his name is, okay, with the Eagles, Jalen Hurt got injured or was, no matter how many times he sprung a toe, as long as he was healthy enough, he was going to be the face of that organization. And Shedeur Sanders would have had to wait his time, or he was going to have to leave and go to another organization. That is the only reason why they chose to go to Cleveland, because they knew that at least with Cleveland, there was no face. So is this making more sense to y'all now? When I said it, there was pushback. Okay, and the guy he just came into the green room. He knows he's about to come on here and explain himself. All right, I told you I'm betting 98. You do not go against a dude that bets 98. That's what you hear every time I say something. You should hear this sound. Okay, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron. That's Harry B. I told you it was not about playing time. Because Shedeur would be started. Thank you, Quinn Lito. Stop playing with me. Explain yourself, Mr. JR Boxing. Explain yourself. Explain yourself, sir.
What's good, Harry? Look, man, if you bat 98, I'm batting 99 then. So I
No,
don't
you're
know,
not.
man. I'm 1 point ahead of you. What are you talking about, man?
No, you're
Nah,
not,
what's
bro.
good with you, man? What's good?
What's up with you? Let's touch
Not much,
this
bro.
Shedeur Sanders situation, possibly starting for the Ravens this week. Answer me. Why? Remember what I said? Him playing was not the reason why they chose to not go with the Eagles or with the Ravens, because they know that if you have a mobile quarterback anywhere, you'll be playing. You will start at some point in that season, because I don't know any mobile quarterback in the history of the NFL that never got dinged up and their backup did not get up in the game. So I said the reason why they did that, it was because I am reading my comments, VR Born. Anyways, it was because he wanted to be the face of the organization, and he was not going to get that chance as long as those two quarterbacks were playing for that organization. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, hey, look, shout out to VR Born, man. Harry, one of the podcasters that does continuously read his comments, man. So shout out to Harry for that, for sure. Look, man, like two things can be right at the same time, right? You definitely
Mm-hmm.
could be right in your stance as far as what Shador wanted to do, or his thinking, or his camp's thinking regarding being a franchise type quarterback. And
Mm-hmm.
also with Coach Prime saying, look, man, why does he want to go be a backup, for 13 years or whatever like that? He was definitely exaggerating the 13 years, but we know what he meant, right? Why would you want to go be a
Mm-hmm.
backup to a guy? So look, two things can be right, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
whether he's the backup with the Ravens right now, look, you could have got your chance with pretty much a better team. You got a really good running back in Derrick Henry. You got some good receivers. You would have been there with LaJohntay West as well. The Ravens
Mm-hmm.
defense is kind of cool right now, but outside of the defense playing bad, the offense is a pretty respectable offense. They got a solid offensive line, things like that. Um, but now it's kind of, look, he betting on himself. So we'll see how this Dylan Gabriel experience goes. I'm thinking Dylan Gabriel will probably get a solid 6 or 7 games, and we'll see Shador around game 12 or 13 or something like that.
All
Barring
right,
injury.
let me handle some business real quick, and then I'll move on. All right, so Jimmy Cleveland, hey man, you back in the chat? What up with you, Jimmy? Hope all is well. Shador staying at third. Joe is second, according to head coach. Yeah, I figured that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why you bench the 40-year-old guy if you plan on keeping him as second. It don't make sense, because if the idea is that we are now getting ready for next year and we want to see what our rookies got, then there's no reason for you to keep Joe as second, because you've already lost confidence in him. So what is he going to do? Come in and save the game? If he's a game saver, then he should be starting. Okay, why would you put Joe? It's not making no sense, Stefanski. All right, this is time for you to see what your rookies got. You put Shador at second. He ain't gonna be no more emergency quarterback. You said Joe Flacco is done. His career is over. So let it go. I'm trying to tell you, Shador is not their priority at no point. It's weird what you're doing, Stefanski. But Jimmy, I appreciate you for bringing that research, man. I do appreciate it. I want to go back to VR Born, and he said that the reason why I want to go back, I'm going to tell you that for a reason. I want to do it for a reason. He said that who was the second string? The Browns aren't going to make sure their franchise QB. Okay. All right, VR Born. So this is what he said. Cooper Rush is Lamar's number 2. Shador wouldn't have started before Cooper Rush. So hear me out. The Ravens are like the Giants. They are a more stable organization, and they do things in the right order. They do things correctly. I would say at least 5 previous NFL players, they actually said that when they bring a rookie into their team, they bring 2 rookies, they'll make them play. And they say, we want to see what you got. Let's just get it out of the way. The Browns never did that. If the Ravens would have brought Shador in, he would have been with Cooper Rush. He would have had to battle with Cooper Rush. So put Shador in any situation. I got my money on Shador. So Shador would have beat out Cooper Rush for the second spot. He would have had an opportunity to win a position with that organization. So you can't say emphatically that, oh, yes, he would have started over him. I don't believe that. What is your thought, JR Boxing? Let me give you a chance to speak on that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Harry. Look, I think if he goes to to the Ravens, you definitely have the shot to be the second string quarterback, behind Lamar Jackson. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
the contract situation off the top of my head for Cooper Rush, but if I can recall, I want to say it was like, I don't know, maybe like 2 years, 10 million. So, it's a $5 million thing because a lot of things $5 million a year. Because a lot of things in
Mm-hmm.
the NFL is based off of economics as well, right? So they're gonna look at money in the room and money will play. But the money would have been close enough for Shador and Cooper Rush to be like, well, nah, it's a $3 to $4 million difference compared to Shador's 5th round contract of being 5 years, I mean 4 years, 4 million or something like that he wound up getting paid. So like he
Mm-hmm.
averaging maybe $1 million a year compared to Cooper Rush $5 million a year. So the money's not too far away for Shador to would have been able to jump him, you know, in training camp based on better play. But I mean, the thing Cooper Rush has on him is obviously experience, right? NFL experience. He had a multitude of starts in Dallas after Dak Prescott was hurt for an extended period of time. So that's the thing Cooper Rush got on him. And then with the Joe Flacco situation being number 2, I can see why they put him at number 2 because have they really been getting Shador ready and prepared, right, to be the second string? Because reports came out about 3 weeks ago that he wasn't getting any reps, and then a week after that, well, he getting scout team reps. So is he really getting enough reps to even be a comparable backup at the time? So I can easily see Shador now getting the reps, right? You got Joe Flacco as the emergency backup, maybe for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then you'll see some type of report saying Shador Sanders now the number 2 backup, going into the rest of the season. Because you got to give him more reps. Because if Dylan Gabriel doesn't play well, you definitely don't go back to Joe Flacco at game 12. You go to Shador at game 12. So you need to give him
Right.
reps to get him ready. So I can see that being a headline thing, within the next few weeks. Shador Sanders now the number 2 quarterback so he can get more reps under his belt when they're in an actual practice setting.
So okay, so based on what you're saying, and it's logical, it makes sense to me. So now we're just kind of like game by game treating this. Like it's almost like they're treating it as if the season is still savable. Right? Because if the season is not savable and we're not still trying to, we're going to the playoffs, or we need to make sure that we're still putting out a front to win, then then I will see why that makes sense. But if you're now in let's see who we got mode, then it's time for you to put Shador second, because then he will get those second string reps, right? Because if you have him at third, he's still not getting those. He's not getting no reps anyway. So it's like, yo, when are you going to get him to the point where he can actually start contributing for the fact that you actually drafted him? If you're saying you have no more trust in Joe Flacco, you can't drop Joe Flacco to second, because he's the 40-year-old that you don't trust anymore. So what are you putting him in that space for? To win?
Well, no, I definitely see the standpoint of where you're coming from. For me, I just look at it like, look, they're going over to where they going to the UK, right? To play. So it's a lot of operations and moving the team around and all of that stuff. So is that really time to put Shador at the number 2 quarterback? Because if he gets in the game and he's not prepared, then the Browns are doing him a disservice, right? And as
No.
fans, we will immediately be able to see it. Because let's say they go over to the London game and what's his name gets hurt within the first quarter. Dylan Gabriel gets hurt in the first quarter, and then you thrust Shador out there. But Shador really hasn't been involved in the game planning for the past few weeks. He really hasn't been getting reps, in the Cleveland organization over the past month. Like, you're not really getting reps. So now you're just thrusting them out there to be like, all right, kid, let's see what you got, kind of thing.
But no,
That's
I see. I got to push back on that. I got to push back.
yeah.
The reason why I got to push back is because that is exactly what Dylan Gabriel was in. That is exactly the same scenario that Dylan Gabriel is in right now. Because for the first 4 weeks, right, we didn't start with him. So now when you say he's ready because he was sitting on the bench behind at number 2 and getting number 2 reps, so are we going to say, okay, so Shador, Dylan Gabriel did not, Joe Flacco didn't get hurt, nothing happened to him, we're ready to play Joe, we're ready to play Dylan Gabriel, so why not make him the number 2 now? Why not make Shador the number 2 the same way that you treated Dylan Gabriel with Joe Flacco? Treat Shador Sanders with Dylan Gabriel. Because it ain't like Dylan Gabriel is just going to get hurt as soon as he gets in the game, and Shador has to go in.
But that happens. I mean, you saw Aaron Rodgers, right? He went out there with the Jets. 2 plays in, he
Aaron Rodgers got hurt at home.
but that's what I'm saying, Harry. So look, fundamentally, the way the NFL works, right? When they're at practice, there's a certain amount of reps that they can have. So let's just say the number's 50, right? So we got 50 total reps that we're looking at practice. If the first string guy is getting 25 of those reps, right? And then the second string guy is getting 15 of those reps. And then the third string guy is getting 10 of those reps. And that's occurring over the course of week after week after week after week. So the last guy has only gotten 40 reps compared to the first guy that's gotten 100 reps. And then compared to the second guy that's got about, what was it, 60 reps. So you know what I'm saying? You're steadily behind the power curve because you're not getting enough reps to kind of iron things out. It could even be less than that.
But what about the practice squad dude that got in that was brought up to play? What about him? The wide receiver. What about the practice squad wide receiver that was brought from the practice squad? If Shador's running the practice squad and getting practice squad reps, he at least should be put at number 2. Like, come on now.
I mean, it's a little bit different from position wise. Like, you can look at a receiver the whole game, and they might have that receiver just in one position. He might just be in the X position as they're bringing him along. So they're not putting him in the Y position. They're not putting him in the H back position. They're just keeping that receiver in one position. Hey, man, you just need to learn this position only, X position route concepts, and that's it. But for a quarterback, you can't do that. You got to know everything. You got to know what the protections. You got to know where the receiver's supposed to be lined up. You got to know all the calls. But for specific people like a running back or a wide receiver, you can single it down.
You still don't know? You still don't know what running the practice squad?
Typically practice squad, right? They're running the other team's offense. You're trying to get your defense a look. So you're running some type of simulation of the Green Bay offense, or you're running a simulation of Detroit's offense. You're not really running the Browns offense. You're still learning football terminology, but you're not running the Browns offense.
You're in the room. You're in the quarterback's room. So 4 weeks of You watching them play on the sideline for just like Dylan Gabriel had to. I wouldn't say Dylan Gabriel is any more ready than Shador is because he had more reps. Because you're learning everything that they're teaching you. Once you get off the field, y'all go into that room, you'll look on that big screen, and they say, okay, what happened here? What happened there? So yes, you are learning it, and you're learning the playbook. So you're learning week by week. So anyways, I don't want to beat this up too much, but
Yeah.
let me handle a little bit of
I'll
business. Give me
I'll
one
just
second.
oh
Give me
go
one
ahead.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Cleveland. He said, probably somebody who follows the Cleveland Browns very closely, more closely than I do. He said there was a meeting between the owner, GM, and coach that made him sit Joe against his wishes. I mean, that's pretty much what I prescribed on I think 2 lives ago. I said they
Yeah.
were going to make him sit. You know what I'm saying? They were going to actually sit him down and against his wish. And I know it's not his fault. I know for a fact that it's not Joe Flacco's fault, the fact that he's sitting. You got to look at those quarterbacks. You got to look at the OC play calling. You got to look at other things. Joe Flacco was going to take the fall. Okay, it was obvious he was going to
Absolutely.
take the fall. So if you throw a ball to a guy, he's wide open. He opens his arm a little bit like this, and then the ball drops through his arm, and you're looking at him like, how much are you getting paid again to do that?
Hmm.
Bro, the ball got to you. It touched your body, and you were not able to secure the ball. And you making me look bad, and now I'm gonna get benched because you suck. Like, come on now. I knew it was gonna happen. So, but Jimmy, you're right. I knew that the ownership was gonna let him go, and I pretty much scripted. See what I tell you, JR Boxing? I scripted. I'm in the heads of these people. I'm in the heads of
I
these
mean,
people, and
we
I
we
scripted. Boom. Go ahead.
yeah, we agreed on the same thing. Look, we both agreed that the Cleveland Brown organization, they're not a good organization. Outside of the defense, like the defense is keeping them in the games. Outside of
Mm,
the Detroit game and the Ravens, because the Ravens are just on a vengeance tour because they had just lost, and the Lions are just a good team. But when you look at the Packers are considered a good team, but the defense kind of held them in there, right? They held their own. But look,
mm,
I look at the Shador Sanders situation the same as the situation with Ryan Staub in Colorado, right? Ryan
mm,
Staub was the number 3 quarterback all through training camp and all through the beginning of the season, going into the Delaware game. He gets in the
mm,
Delaware game, he struck hot. But then the following week, you go to Houston, and what showed? You could tell Ryan Staub has not had time on task when it comes to practice reps and game situation. He hasn't had the time on task because he looked shook back there. He was missing reads. He was missing throws. Like all your timing is off because you're not getting reps in practice to go through it. You got to rep it. That's why they have all these reps. That's why they go through all the reps with people so you can have time on task to perform well. He looked good against Delaware, right? Even though his first pass should have been an interception. But then you look against Houston and he looks terrible. So it's the same kind of situation. I'm not saying Shador would mirror exactly what Ryan Staub did, but the Cleveland Browns definitely have not set Shador up for success. So if you go out there to the UK and Dylan Gabriel get hurt on the first snap, and now Shador is the second quarterback, and he looking like, well, damn, I only got about 30 reps over the first course of the 4 weeks of the season. Hey man, we don't care. You need to go out there and we calling this and this and this. Like it could it be overwhelming? Sure. Could he step up and perform? Absolutely. But sometimes the exception doesn't always meet the rule, and the rule usually wins, right? Like
I,
Vegas.
I,
Vegas
I, to,
usually wins.
I totally understand that, and but again, we're talking about a player like Shador. I don't know that there's any light that could be so much too bright for him, and I totally understand that. But that's why VR Born and Jimmy Cleveland, I'll get to you in a second. That's why VR Born is asking. So what's the difference between the practice squad and the scout team? Are those the same?
No. So the scout team is more so you're prepare like you're using concepts of the opponent to help your team get ready. That's what you're
Right.
doing. So if I'm the scout team quarterback, then I'm emulating who they playing this week. The Minnesota Vikings. So if I'm the scout team
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, I'm emulating JJ McCarthy. I'm trying to give them looks, offensive
Right. So
concepts of
then,
what JJ
so we're
McCarthy
saying
would do.
practice squad
Scout
versus
team.
scout team. So he's on the practice squad, not the scout team.
But he on the practice squad, but they had him taking scout team reps.
So
That's what
who,
they had him doing.
what quarterback is he? What play is he mimicking? Is he mimicking the Cleveland Browns plays, or is he mimicking the opposing team's play?
Well, for the first 2 weeks, apparently he wasn't mimicking nobody's play. He wasn't getting no reps for the first 2 weeks
No,
of
I'm
the
talking
beginning of
about
the
on the
season.
practice squad. He said he's doing practice squad stuff, and that's what VR Born wants to know. He's saying that he's on the practice squad, but you're saying that he's taking practice squad reps.
Yeah. Initially, the
Scout team,
report came.
squad team.
Initially, reports came out that he was taking scout team reps. Then they came out and said he was taking practice team reps. So how
Well,
many reps are
he
you
said that
getting
himself.
practice team? Yeah, but
Shador
that's what I'm
Shador
saying.
said in that interview. He said it himself.
That he getting practice team reps. So how many reps
Yeah.
is that? We don't know. How many reps are you getting compared to Joe
Well,
Flacco
I
and
mean, according to
Levine?
Shador's interview, he's saying it seems like he's playing like 6 games a week. So it must be a
Well,
lot
but
because if you're practicing, keep in mind, like if you're on the practice squad, you're literally the guy that's kind of like doing the things that the regular quarterback would do when you're not with the first team. So you see what I'm saying? So DC said it's 10 reps.
So there you go. So 10 reps. So 10 reps over how many practices? So 40. So essentially he got 40 reps. So if he been on the practice squad since the beginning of the season, they going into week 5 for them. So he got 40 reps.
I mean,
So
I
that's
think
what
it's
I'm
time for you to
saying.
call. You can put with those reps. Wild Dog, I'll be with you. Let me handle some business real quick with Jimmy Cleveland. He said Shador got 3 of the rookie receivers on team from working with them. Oh, okay, from working with them, and he's doing more development than coaches. Well, I mean, Shador's not a bad quarterback.
Yeah, he's not a
Until
bad
we get
quarterback.
listen, until we get the numbers. We're not the Shador. We, those of us who know who Shador is, we're going to stand on business. The rest of the people who are the skeptics, they're going to be on the opposite side of this discussion until Shador starts to drop dimes and do what he does. And then they'll come back to us, and then we'll all be able to have a good conversation all over again. So it's hard because some people are just numbers oriented, and some people, they know what they know. So that's just how it is. Let's bring Wild Dog on the panel. Wild Dog, what up with you? Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you, brother. How you doing?
Hey, Harry B. Thanks for having me on, bro. Blessings, bandwagon buff. Blessings, bandwagon Browns.
All right. So we're talking this Shador situation. What is your thought, real quick, before we move to the next thing? Should Shador move up to number 2, or is he not ready to be number 2? He doesn't have enough steps for them to trust him. So it's good that you keep Flacco at 2, keep Shador as a emergency quarterback situation. Does he even go overseas?
Yeah, no, even true to what I figured out dealing with this Cleveland Browns, public relations debacle. I listened specifically what Shador said. In a good place, practice squad / scout team. This is a good place for him. And one of the things he's done, we know him very well, is develop wide receivers, being able to communicate, relate to them what they need to do, what he needs from them, and like someone said in the chat, he's basically like a development coach, but from the QB position. So right now he's in a good place, and nothing's changed since my prediction looking at preseason is the bye week, which is week 9. So I don't want to see him on the field active until maybe after that week 9 bye week. I'm still on that.
Okay, so you're saying he's not ready. Keep him at 3 until.
Well, I'm not saying he's not ready. I'm not saying he's not ready. I'm just saying that's what I prefer to see, because The Browns aren't ready. That O line is still hashing itself out. So
Well,
Thank you,
regardless,
thank you,
if you're not
thank you,
ready, if he's
Wild
ready,
Dog.
then let's. If you're saying he's ready, then why do you prefer that he doesn't? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing gonna change, right? Nothing's gonna change from the time that you're saying right now versus the time that he finally gets in. Nothing's gonna change. So then, why
well,
would you say if he's ready now, why not activate him to number two or elevate him to number
I
two?
mean that's a matter of opinion, Harry B. I'm just saying what the dynamics is more than just about Shador. There's more to the game than him just being ready. And then you got the whole dynamics of him earning his spot. So if he leapfrogs, Dylan Gabriel, he leapfrogs Flacco, then there's going to be a whole bunch of flack that he doesn't deserve. So there's a politics of the game if you just look at it at that. So let Flacco do his thing, which he's done. Let Dylan Gabriel do his thing, and by week 9, give that bye week plenty of time for Shador to prepare for his first game.
But how do you prepare somebody that's not activated to a certain spot and you're not going to be able to get the reps? Let me bring on Todd Smith and
That's
let me.
why. That's why I'm going with the bye week. That gives them 2 weeks, right?
All right, give me a second.
Yeah.
Let me bring on Todd Smith. Todd Smith, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for calling in. What's up with you? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? What's up, Harry B, JR, Wild Dog? What's happening,
Salute.
guys?
Hey, are you under the same Todd Smith? Are you under the same impression, or do you agree with JR Boxing and Wild Dog that we keep him out until the bye week, or at least we don't activate him now because he's not ready?
Um, I agree to a certain extent. Uh, when he comes out with, like Wild Dog said, around week 9 or even further along, that's fine. I'm cool with it. Uh, what we don't know is what's going on behind the scenes. Uh, I feel like having Joe Flacco still at that number 2 position, that's all politics. That's just to continue to keep their name hot while they're being trash, playing trash on the football field. So I feel like if push come to shove, say for instance, God forbid, Dylan Gabriel got hurt in London. Okay, we all know, the world know, okay, if Joe wasn't getting it done, why would you put him back out there? So now you have to play Shador, or if you do put Joe Flacco back out there, now it's going to cause controversy between the general manager and the head coach. And I feel like the general manager, I feel like Kevin Stefanski, if he put Joe Flacco back out there, could easily be fired when you haven't even taken a chance to.
How you gonna get fired if that's your number 2?
Huh?
Why put him at number 2 knowing you're gonna get fired if you
Okay.
have to go to him?
If Joe Flacco is your number 1,
No, if he's your number 2,
no,
because
no, no, no.
you're
Okay,
making him number 2. If you put
okay,
him,
but he's
because if Dylan Gabriel gets hurt, Joe Flacco being number 2 has to go in.
not necessarily, not
What
necessarily so.
what you mean?
How many fifth rounders do you know traveling with the team all across the country?
Well, you got to have an emergency quarterback. You're not going to fly him over in a jet in 2 hours to get ready. So he's going to be there because he's going to be the emergency quarterback. So he's the
Okay,
number 3 overall. So we're not talking about draft order anymore. We're talking about game reality,
right. So if
right?
Joe
So
Flacco,
he's going to be there. He's going to fly over.
okay, but what I'm saying, if Joe Flacco was your number 1, your guy from the beginning of the season,
Well, that's
right?
my argument. That's my argument.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. If he's your guy for the beginning of the season, and then you put him at number 2,
Right.
clearly he should be number 3 because he haven't even produced at number 1. So how is he going to produce at number 2? You see what I'm saying? He's going to be the same Joe Flacco. I don't care if you put him at 1 through 5 or 1 through 10. He's going to be the same. He's going to give you the same results because you didn't gave him opportunities to do it already, and he's
4
failed at it.
games.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, I feel like they got him there at number 2 because what? We're talking about it. It's everybody, all of us know Shador should be pushed up to number 2. All the ESPN, Fox Sports writers, everybody know that Shador should be put up to number 2. But if I put Joe Flacco at number 2, That's going to create a buzz. That's going to continue to have everybody still talking about us, even though we're trash. And then when the game time come around, that general manager and that owner, they're going to be looking at Kevin Stefanski like, okay, I want to see our guy. I want to see what he can do. And if you don't play him,
which guy is that? You talking about? You talking
I'm
about,
talking about
Shador?
Shador. Yes, if you do not play Shador, it's going to cause controversy to where Kevin Stefanski could be fired. That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm looking beyond
I don't
just
know about
what's in
this.
front of me. Man, okay.
I don't know. JR Boxing. What do you? How do you interpret what Todd Smith is saying?
Oh, I mean, what? Shout out to Todd, man. Look, what Todd said got credence, man, for sure. Look, it's definitely politics in sports. Wild Dog alluded to that. It's politics in it. So, all you need is a voice in that organization to be rooting for you, right? We assume the voice that's rooting for Shador is Andrew Berry. I think we all collectively know it's not Kevin Stefanski. So we believe the voice is Andrew Berry. So Andrew Berry may be in there with the owner and the coach saying, hey, like, well, we got to get my guy ready. So Stefanski, is he ready? Like what the reps look. I mean, like Barry know what the reps look like. You know, we see it, they tracking all they rep, they monitor everything from when the players walk through the door. So what Todd's saying, it does hold credence, man. And it could be just as simple as what Wild Dog alluded to. Hey, is he ready right now? If somebody got injured, is he ready right now? Does he have, 70% of the playbook absorbed, 80%, whatever percentage they want to put behind it? So, look, Kevin Stefanski, you won't have no excuse. Because if we put Shador out there and you saying, well, I can only call 30% of the playbook because he only be getting 10 reps for the past 4 weeks. There's a lot that goes
So,
into it. You
so
game
you're
plan
telling
stuff, but he only getting 10 reps in practice. So he not even going through the whole game plan like the rest of the quarterbacks get to do from the number one and the number two position.
so you're telling me that even though Flacco is in the number 2 spot, what Ty is saying that Stefanski could get fired by playing Joe Flacco at number 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little. My
Hey,
brain.
did you
Okay,
see? Hold on,
that's
Harry.
the
I
twist for
want
my brain. Go
Harry.
ahead. Go ahead before I bring on DC. Go ahead. DC's waiting
Okay.
in the.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna make this real quick. Oklahoma State head coach got
Mhm.
fired after how many games?
I think
4
we're only
games.
4 games
3?
in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3?
Four games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Three or
4
four.
I didn't,
games.
Four.
I did not
Mid-season.
say that at all. That's dysfunction.
But what I'm saying is, your job is not, uh, let me see, solidified if you're not producing. If you're not
Right.
producing, and Andrew Berry is over Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski, that's his boss.
Right, but you don't hire a coach to tell him what to do. then why hire a coach? Why hire a head coach
But if
to
you're
tell
not
him what to do?
producing,
Tell him who to play.
if you're not winning, if you are not winning, and it makes it even harder when you got a GM that has a guy that he likes. And
And
how long
something
has
ain't
he
adding
been
up.
there?
But hold on. Let me bring on DC.
Okay.
DC, welcome to the show, brother. Let's see if you can be a voice of reason. Thank you for calling in. What up with you? Let me get your thoughts on this. Go ahead.
All right, so ask me the question you'd like to answer to. I'm not going to do
Okay.
Cat GPT today, but I'm going to be
Okay.
close.
All right. So I'm trying to understand what Todd Smith is saying. And Jimmy Cleveland, I want to say thank you so much. He says thank you for the super chat. He said a clause in emergency quarterback is only if all the other quarterbacks are injured or disqualified, then only can he play. So let's put a pin in that because that is very important to note. All right, because if he goes overseas and nobody gets hurt, but the person is stinking up the place, they can't activate him. So
We
how
talking
is it
about
that you're
Cleveland.
yeah, but the clause is still the clause. If that emergency quarterback clause is something that they got to adhere to, then we got to consider that. But DC, first to you, if for if we got Joe Flacco, keeping in mind, I guess what Jimmy just brought up, if we got Joe Flacco at number 2, and we're saying that because of politics, but what's the name wants to see his guy play, which is Shador. He gets fired if Shador if what's the name is stinking up the game. Now that he threw 4 interceptions, we're down 4 touchdowns. We go back to Flacco. You're telling me that he gets that Stefanski gets fired?
I don't
Then,
know if
then,
he would
then
get.
why put Flacco at number 2? Like, regardless of politics, why put Flacco at number 2, but then say no, Shador's coming in from the emergency spot?
I don't know if he gets fired because you put Flacco back in there, but I do think there's a reason why that's done. There's some politics in that. Because I think if I'm Flacco and I'm on a 1 year contract, and that's what I'm going to invite people to look at. Don't just look at it of how it affects Shador. Look at this thing, how it affects the organization as a whole and what's going on. So if I'm Flacco and you brought me in and then you bench me, then I'm probably sitting up here saying it's my last year to do it. Go on and put me up before the waiver deadline comes up, so I can have an opportunity to play somewhere else. If you're gonna sit me on the bench, so if you do that, and I don't know necessarily how that would go. Then now you would not have Flacco. Now you're just stuck with 2 rookies, which is not the answer.
Okay, so you're keeping him for safety reasons.
Yes, that's why he was there anyway. Flacco was not put on this team to for them to be world beaters. I hate to say this, but none of these QBs are on this team for them to be world beaters. It was just for them to be functional, not franchise.
So we're going with Flacco at number 2 and not Shador because of that politics. But you're telling me I'm still stuck on what like I said, what Ty Smith brought up. So you're telling me, okay, they got him there, but they can still leapfrog him and go to Shador?
Hey, Harry B.
Yeah.
Harry B. It you brought in your Stefanski. You brought in Flacco. Dylan Gabriel is your guy, and they both lay rotten eggs. Your
Mm-hmm.
reputation and your job is on the line.
Well, I want to challenge that, Wild Dog, because at the end of the day is we're all assuming that Shador is going to come in there and do decent to great. What if he stinks it up? Now what?
Then that's on GM Barry. His reputation is on the line.
Right, but here's the thing I want to say is so because of the nature of Shador, once you play Shador, you will never be able to take him out. You create a whole nother issue. This is not me dissing Shador, not saying he can't play. It's to a point where if it gets in and sucks, you're gonna have a storm thing of he wasn't prepared. We kind of see that now. If he gets in and and does well, that's a good thing. We want that. But I think we can't just look at best case scenario. We got to look at worst case scenario because also the locker room knows who can play and who can't play. So if you go from Flacco to Dylan and Dylan stinks it up, and then turn around and you play Shador and Shador plays, let's say, one game great, and then just gets out another game and just, I mean, stinks it up to high heaven. Then now where are you? And I also want to add into a point. I think some of these moves are being made it's because Watson probably is healed, and you're probably going to introduce him to a team because at the end of the day, is whether you keep Shador or not or whatever it is, you still got to get rid of Watson, and you probably are going to want to play him so at least you'll have some tape on him. So you got a lot of dynamics going on this thing. It is politics other than just, hey, I understand, want to see Shador play, that kind of stuff. But their room was messy before Shador even got there, and it's going to stay messy into the end of this year.
Speak the
But let me
truth.
offer this though. I don't know that Shador in any situation can stink up the room because this is what we got. We got the game that everybody that's stinging everybody's membrane, right? That game, Shador was put in a no-win situation. The team that he was playing with are all washing dishes in a Spanish restaurant, right? So, and listening to Spanish music, the one beat that goes on and on. Anyways, I'm just saying. So what are we talking about? Like Shador, we know Shador as not a person that stinks up any room. Put him in anywhere. What in Shador's game? Besides that one Vikings game, what in Shador's history or his playing in football has ever given you the idea that he stinks up any room at all?
Okay,
Give
I'm
me
glad
one.
you asked that. I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad
Go
you
ahead.
asked that. Every
Mm-hmm.
time Shador has been up against a solid defense, he has looked horrible. Let's call it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible to not so good. So now we're in the NFL where we're going in there. And I'm not saying he can't be good.
Oh, it was the
When he is
Rams,
on,
not the
he is
Vikings.
on. Right. It was the Rams. So again, I know we like to say, hey, the dishwashers, but guess what? The dishwashers are playing against the servers. We got to keep that in mind, is that the defense he was going up against wasn't world beaters also. So when we pull that back in, it's not saying Shador. The only reason I'm saying what I'm saying is,
No, but
and
keep in
make
mind
this
that offensive line has been protecting Joe Flacco. So if that
the
offensive line can do what they did for Joe Flacco, Shador would do a way better job. And I don't see where he stinks it up. I don't see Shador.
let me hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish though, because I know
Okay.
it's nice to say I don't see it, but you also have to factor in that this is a rookie who is not getting the reps. He ain't getting the reps like Jackson Dart did. He's not getting the reps with Cam Ward did, which he's stinking it up, and he even said that. He's not getting the reps, and now we're getting to 6 or 7 game where you're not. He how much can he develop or improve and be functional with the reps that he's getting? Because this is the pros. This is not Big 12 where you're playing below average to bad defenses. These are elite folks. So
But we
how
got
is that?
elite Shador. Unless you don't understand the top
Shador,
I got
Shador is
a
not elite.
pushback.
the
Shador
I
is
got
not
a push.
quality.
elite.
I got
Sorry.
pushback.
Shador is
Shador,
elite.
hold on. If
I
Shador
believe
was
Shador
elite,
is
he would be
elite, and
starting. If he was elite, he
he's
would
elite, and
be
he's not on the right
starting.
organization. That's why he's not starting. So
If
that's
he
my
was
argument.
elite,
I
he would be
no,
starting.
what
He
he's
would be
not.
ahead of
He's
Dylan.
not elite. He's not.
Exactly.
But you're not. You're not considering the organization that he's with. You're just
I
taking.
am.
You're just taking regular football talk, and you're trying to apply it with his talent and his skill set. I'm trying to tell you, which I've been consistently trying to tell you, this whole threat of the Cleveland Browns being a doo-doo organization, not really understanding anything about how you develop players or even how you handle players. You're still taking the threat of the same thing that Archo was saying, that based on the situation, you're thinking that the Cleveland Browns handle it
You're
exactly how they were supposed to handle it. And
you're
if he
killing your
was good enough,
argument.
that
You're killing your
huh?
argument if you think about it.
I'm not
You're
killing my
killing
argument,
your
because
argument.
if
You
he
are
was,
frying
hold
it.
on, let me land my plane. Let me land my plane. If the Cleveland Browns knew what they were doing, we would see a different Shador. The only reason why you see Shador in the situation that he's in is because of existential information. You cannot say politics. You cannot say the Cleveland Browns are a bad organization, but then still use the same argument, football argument, to land to land an argument. Those two things cannot exist at the same time. It doesn't make sense. So you either think Shador is good enough and the Cleveland Browns are a bad organization, or you think Shador is doing exactly, or the Cleveland Browns are doing exactly what they are doing because of Shador's talent. Because of Shador's talent.
The end of the day is whether he's elite or not. I'm not trying to use other teams or what traditional football is. I'm using is what we see in front of us is what's going on. That isn't an
Well,
organization
that's then
that
that's
has
it. Then
developed
that's
it.
it. That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm
So,
saying?
but they
Your
had, but so
argument is based on what we're seeing, and I say what we're seeing is based on a dysfunctional organization that does not know what they're doing, regardless of how good or how great Shador is. I still believe Shador is elite, but you're trying to apply the same argument that this organization did everything correctly, and
that ain't
what
what
we're
I
seeing is the
said.
result
That's
of,
not what I said.
hold on.
That is
What
not
we're
what I
seeing is
said.
the result of his talent level. If he was that talented, he would be starting. And we know that he is that talented, but he's not starting, and that's due to the lack of ability on their end, not his.
Hey, Harry B, let's not alienate our Browns fans. Let's just use the Browns against the Browns, if I can make this statement. The legendary, I'm going to say it wrong again, QB Sanders. No, Bernie Kosar. Bernie Kosar. The legendary Bernie Kosar, who's still very involved with the Cleveland Browns. Going into the draft, there's only two QBs he cared about. Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. That was his two. Shador joining the Browns, he said, I'd like to see Flacco start the season and then Shador Sanders finish the season. This is Bernie Kosar, legendary Cleveland Browns, still involved with the organization. So that's Browns within the Browns. And what are they doing? They're not even taking the advice of the best quarterback in the last 30, 40 years of their organization.
So that's I'm just saying, I'm not ever gonna forget how good I know Shador is for some organization that does not know what they're doing. And Todd Smith, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I agree with what you said about Shador, and I've been watching. I watched 2 games this season on the Browns, and I'm just seeing how much time Joe Flacco has in the pocket. And by Shador being a pocket quarterback, and his accuracy, I feel like he give Cleveland Browns the
The better.
the better chance of pushing the ball
Yes.
downfield, with his pocket presence, with his accuracy. They already got a rookie running back that seemed like he's coming in with a vengeance to make a big name for himself in this NFL realm. So
Chuckins. Yep.
I feel like Shador, with the amount of time that Joe Flacco, Shador Sanders could come down
And
there and
he's
really
been
push the
getting it, bro.
ball,
He's been getting time.
and with better receivers. And I feel like
Right.
even though uh, Dylan Gabriel is going to play in London, it's going to be those same uh, preseason routes that they've been running in preseason, and that's not going to work. I don't feel like that's going to work in London. They're going to force him to put the ball down the field, and that's when he's going to make the same mistakes that Joe Flacco been making all season.
Right.
Interceptions.
I'm staying. I'm consistently staying, and I'm not gonna waver because, like I told you, I'm batting 98 on this channel. I don't care. I know Shador's talent level, regardless of how the Browns are handling his talent level. I'm not gonna waver on knowing what I know about that talent. All right. So I know and I understand all of the dynamics that's happening. He can get hurt, things can happen. But this is the NFL. If you're worried about getting hurt at this point, then go sit down at home. Maybe you might get off the couch and pull a hamstring. I mean, but at this point, it's the NFL, and it's week number 4. We're going into week number 5. Like, come on. I'm not in the mindset as y'all are. Y'all afraid for him to get hurt and things can happen. Dylan Gabriel can get hurt. Anybody can get hurt. I say Shador's ready today, just like Shador himself said. Put him in. He's the better quarterback in that room, and I have not changed my position. I think the
Harry
Cleveland
B.
Browns are making a grave mistake. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to handle this situation. They're fumbling. They're telling the fan base of Shador to say kick rocks, and it's not just like we're some delusional people who don't know anything about football. Even though they want to classify us as that, thinking Shador's not that good. But if you look at Cam Ward and what's going on with Cam Ward, you would know that if Bernie Kosar said what he said, that Shador can't do no worse than that. Shador is a way more accurate quarterback, and he has an O-line that can actually block. You think Shador can't take this team to where it needs to be? He's ready right now. Let's go ahead and give him the daggone keys and stop playing games with it. Go ahead, Wild Dog.
On that note, Harry B, I know it's obscure, but unfortunately, I've never been wrong. But
I'm 98. I've been wrong maybe 2%.
But on this, when it comes to quarterbacks, but I just got this thing, and I've never been wrong. I just feel like Dylan Gabriel, when he takes that first good hit, he's going down. Not that he won't bounce back, but I'm just saying, when Dylan Gabriel takes that first good hit, he's going down. So Shador, they need to get Shador ready and stop messing around with Flacco.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, at this point, come on now. Like, let's stop playing with this. Let's stop using nuanced conversations to justify what the mess that Cleveland Browns is. I mean, I understand what y'all are saying, but I mean, enough is enough with the protective talk.
Yeah, but
Shador,
I think my pushback is that I get the love for Shador, and Shador has some great skill sets. I get that.
He's an elite
But
quarterback. Just say it.
No, I'm not, because he's not an elite quarterback. The bottom
Yes,
line
he
is
is.
that you can call him that, but I'm not gonna ever call him that. So we don't need to play
That's
this tennis match. I'm just basically sitting here saying is that because here's the thing. This is why I'm pushing back, and it's not that I don't think he has elite capabilities. I've always said definitely most accurate QB that came out the draft, bar none. I'll
And he
never
still
take
is.
that away from him.
He didn't lose
But here's
those abilities.
again, but it ain't just about being accurate. And my point is one of the main reasons
It's a
I'm
big
saying,
percentage of it, my guy.
but well, there's a lot of QBs I've seen. But check this out. There's a lot of QBs that won the Johnny Unitas Award for that wound up being complete bust. We can go more than often they were bust than they were bosses. The thing I'm saying is that this is where I'm mainly coming from. My concern for Shador is because we talk about the inability to develop in this with this QB room, because we've seen it. It's that right now we're saying it, but we're forgetting everything we've seen the previous 4 or 5 years where it was just horrible. So you can put Shador in, but that doesn't mean that somehow just some magic is going to happen and he's just going to rise up and dominate it, because they have had great quarterbacks. Can you sit here right
Why does
now?
he have to rise up and dominate? Why does Shador? Why he can't just play a good game? Why is
I
the
don't mind him.
expectation for Shador rise up and dominate? Why he can't just be better than Flacco? Why he can't just score touchdowns?
Because fans like yourself want to use the word elite versus just saying, I just want to see him play a good game.
Okay, so was Shador not an elite quarterback in college?
Shador was what? Yes.
Was he
absolutely.
Was he not an elite quarterback in college?
He was an elite quarterback in college.
Okay, so stop it right there. So if he's an elite quarterback in college, what is it that took him from elite status to nothing? Is it only that you're still stuck in draft mode, or do you think he still possesses those elite skill sets and the Browns just didn't know how to get him to where he needed to be at? Is that possible that the Browns got it wrong, or you think you think that the Browns is a good litmus test for what Shador actually is? Which one do you believe?
Folks, I think I need you to tell Harry that in this game, I'm the final boss. So if you want to go up on this level, because guess what? Trevor Lawrence,
straight African, let's go. Bring it.
And guess what?
DC, bring it. Let's go.
Okay, so check this out.
All right.
Trevor Lawrence was elite. Deshaun Watson was elite, both in college, right?
Well, yeah, DC,
Winston was elite.
Yeah, DC.
Go ahead.
Yeah. DC, let it be known that you could be legendary in college.
Exactly.
But it doesn't necessarily translate to the NFL, and then it's not required. You got people who are.
But there were people that were not elite in college and also became good. So
True.
Let's
But
not say that
I know,
everybody,
I know.
because
But
everybody had their trajectory go a certain way. It doesn't mean that Shador's trajectory is going to be the same way theirs went. So
I just think
there were
Shador.
terrible quarterbacks that were not great, and they became great in the NFL. So we can say either way. So does it make you
Yeah,
right or wrong? I'm
but
just
I
making
just
an
think that,
argument for Shador. I'm not saying that
yeah.
history cannot repeat itself.
But I'm just saying the path he took, he's still hungry and he still has the ability to put in that work. So a lot of these busts, it's because of where they landed. They were picked top 15 on teams that sucked.
So
So
how many of
they didn't
so
have the
how
development, you know.
right? So how many of them that would pick top 10, top 15 went to the Browns and were not developed? And now we're sitting here saying a guy that's not getting the reps that he should get to really come out there and shine is not getting it. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that Shador can't. I'm just saying when we look at what's
um,
going on, the
yeah,
facts,
so
the n-
I'm just baffled. I'm just baffled
I'm not
that you
baffled.
made moves that he made moves that landed him with the Browns.
yes,
I'm
me too.
baffled that he made moves that landed him with the Browns because
I'm
no,
I'm 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 all for that.
they were an early round pick for a reason because they
Keep
Yes,
suck.
keep the keep the
Exactly.
argument right
When they
here,
hit
and let's.
I'm bamboozled. I feel bamboozled. I'm
All right. So
baffled.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
We already litigated how we felt. We're not going back to none of
but
that.
hold
I'm
on,
keeping the argument
Harry.
right
I
here.
just want to ask.
I'm
I
keep,
want to ask
keep
you
the
this so real
argument
quick, though,
right
Harry.
here. Shador
I,
Sanders is an elite quarterback. I don't
I
care who had a history of they was elite and their arm broke and their aunt came and told them that they weren't supposed to be. I don't care about none of that. I don't care because history
let
does
him
not have
finish.
to go the way that you're saying. So I
Right,
don't
then let
care.
him
literally.
stay on the
I get
scout team so
Shador
he can get
Sanders is
traded.
still an elite quarterback. It doesn't matter what happened to somebody else. My argument is
It
about
does
Shador.
matter.
I don't
It does
care about
matter.
nobody else.
I know you
It
don't,
doesn't
but
matter.
you
It
can't ignore
doesn't
the
matter because
pattern.
you can make an argument for either side. You can
You
say
Let
an
him
can't.
stay
elite
on the
quarterback
scout team,
failed.
Harry.
You can hold on. You can say an elite quarterback did not perform at elite level, but you can also say a non-elite quarterback also performed at an elite level. So what does that say as far as the average is concerned in the balance of how the universe works? It's not always the other way around. It doesn't mean that the history has to always repeat itself and that's how it's going to go. You're just making a good point about elite quarterbacks may not work out, but you're also got to make the point that non-elite quarterback also work out. So
But
what's the balance?
what the balance is this. I get what you're saying, bro. But here's the thing, and everybody on this panel can agree with it. And then once Harry is willing to woo-saw, he probably will accept it. It's that Cleveland
Convince me.
Browns.
I'm level-headed. Convince me. If
Cleveland,
you
I know,
convince me,
and
I
I'm
will
messing with
accept
you.
it.
I'm messing with you. Do you remember when Shador got drafted and they said Shador Cleveland, and the first thing I said was no. You know why? Because that is the organization where elite quarterbacks have gone to die. And it's been the pattern, 100% pattern, not no 98%, 100%
For
that
25
each elite
years.
That
exactly.
is
So
facts.
so at the end of the day, I'm not telling you what's out of my gut feeling. I'm telling you is that from the
But that is
last
not the
person.
same thing we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that. Let me remind you what we're talking about. Putting Shador in, I said that he will perform better than Joe Flacco because Shador is an elite quarterback. You're pushing back because you don't believe Shador is an elite quarterback. Now, what you're trying to wrap up this in conversation is you're trying to give me facts that has nothing to do with what I'm saying, and you're trying to sound good, but that's not going to sway me. I said persuade me. You telling me that the Cleveland Browns is a bad organization is what I'm saying. It does not negate the fact that Shador Sanders is an elite quarterback with elite mindset, the confidence that he needs to lead an organization like the Cleveland Browns, who have a decent O-line that he's never had in college, all right, who has receivers that are okay with a good running back. Shador never had that. I'm saying if you put him in, he will still possess those elite mindsets and still do the elite things that he did in college. You don't believe that, but you cannot tell me some historical stats that's going to persuade me that he is not that, because
I
that's
can also
somebody
tell,
else's life. That's
but
somebody
that, but you,
else's life, and that's
but
somebody else's trajectory. History does not tell you that if number two failed, that I'm going to fail. That's
I
not how
use
this
two.
works.
I use two things. You can say it loud as you want to. Don't mean it's true. I'm gonna say use two things. I use the pattern, and
Make
then
your
I use the
argument.
fact,
Just make it
and I
make
use
sense.
the fact, and I use the fact that he is not getting enough. The lack of reps is what's also an issue.
Let's
I
talk
don't
about
think
that real
people
quick.
understand that. That you're
Let's
That's
thinking.
talk about that.
Go
What
ahead.
does
Go
that
Harry.
ahead,
mean? The lack
Jr.
of reps.
And
Let's talk
Harry,
about that.
that's
The lack of hold on 1 second. The lack of reps is talking about how much you can open up the playbook, correct? Right?
for the most part, yes, yes.
Okay. How much of the playbook you can use. But let's say you're using that as a blanket argument, and I'm trying to tell you the lack of rep is just about how many plays he already has in memory. How many plays can the organization use, and with the different schemes? If it's 5 plays with 10 schemes at each play, then that means that they cannot use as much of that as they can. But it does not mean that Shador's not elite. You're just using that argument as a general blanket. I'm just saying, what if they only got 3 plays that they can play? Does that mean that Shador is not elite enough to remember and how to perform those 3 plays? That's not what this means. So
I don't
convince
I
me.
don't think I don't think it has anything to do with performance, right? I'm not questioning his elite
Right.
capabilities. He has elite capabilities, yes. My thing is preparedness. And that's not
Right.
preparedness on Shador's fault, it's preparedness on the organization. What DC was alluding to is the fact that if he is not getting the repetition to go out and showcase his elite talent, then it all will fall apart. If you get out there and you only able to, the offensive coordinator is only to say, well, we can only utilize 30% of the playbook or 40% of the playbook. You do have other grown men on the other side of the ball that it's their job, coaches and players alike, to stop you from doing what you can do best. So that's not going to stop Shador from having great ball placement. It's not going to stop Shador from, maybe being able to scramble away from a sack here or there. It's not going to stop that. But what it is going to stop is the wide receiver route concepts, the blocking scheme of offensive line. It stops all of that. So it's not just about Shador. Again, DC said it, Ty said it, and Wild Dog said it. The Browns picked where they picked because they were just not a good organization.
Okay.
They
So
just not. They're not
I
putting up
got
a
it.
lot of points
Great,
offensively.
great point.
Wide receivers dropping passes. It's all kind of
I
stuff
got
that alludes to it.
okay.
So
I got it. I got it. Stay right there.
And that's
Stay
what I
right
was
there.
saying.
Hold on. Stay right there for a second. Let me give you this. Dylan Gabriel was the backup. He was on the sidelines. Second team guys or the backup don't get that much reps either. So the same argument that you are posing against Shador is the same argument that you got to say about Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel, that whole playbook is not available to him, but yet they now have to install him and get him ready for that, right? So the same, he's been on the bench. He's not getting that much reps either. Yes, is he getting more reps? Yes, but there has to come a time where the practice squad guy who's been playing and he's been learning the playbook, it ain't like he's some dodo that's just not getting nothing, right? So the same thing that you're applying to Shador, it was the same thing that was going to happen with all the backups anyways. So it doesn't matter whether it's Shador or it's Dylan Gabriel. They don't have the necessary reps to be able to open that playbook 100%. But now you have to. So if you know that Dylan Gabriel is the guy, now you have up until whatever time you got to fly out to get him prepared. So what is the difference between that and Shador that we keep saying, man, he's not ready, man, he's not ready, man, he's not ready. I'm like, come on, give it up, man. Get him ready then. That going it. He
because
gonna keep saying this thing, he's not ready, he's not ready.
Harry, the focus is getting Dylan Gabriel ready. That's the focus. So
I
if you
know
asking the
that.
so you asking the offensive coordinator who to your own admittance, you saying, well, Dylan Gabriel didn't get enough reps. All right, cool, but now he's starting. So now we got to get him ready. That's our focus. So we need to get you all caught up and sped up so we can try to facilitate this offense to the highest capacity possible. Oh yeah, by the way, you need to get Shador ready too, because he the second string. You need to get him ready too. You need to go through all of the stuff with him too. Their focus is not Shador. Their focus is Dylan Gabriel. Because you know
But
who
did
they
you not
don't
hear
have
what
to
I
get
said?
ready. Hold on,
I said
Harry,
move
hold
him up
on.
to the second
Hold,
spot. I didn't say make
Harry,
him number one.
Harry, hold
What are you
on.
talking
The
about?
pro,
You're
the
not
pro, the
representing what I said
priority,
correctly.
the priority is Dylan Gabriel. You're making Shador the priority. The Browns organization
How
is
am
not
I
making
doing
Shador the
that? Tell me how
priority.
I'm doing that. Tell me
You
how I'm
said
doing that.
you said move him to second and get him ready. Clearly, the Browns, that's not their priority. Their
Bro,
priority is
what
Dylan
are you
Gabriel.
talking about? Your second team is good. If Dylan Gabriel was in
If
number
you let
two,
me
whatever.
finish, if you let me finish, they're focusing on getting Dylan Gabriel ready because you know who you don't have to worry about getting ready? The second string quarterback, because Joe Flacco has already been getting a multitude of the reps over the first 4 weeks. So they don't have
What
to
am I
focus on
missing,
getting
bro?
Joe Flacco ready if Dylan Gabriel gets hurt. They don't have to focus on that. They only
What
have
am
to
I
focus
missing?
on getting Dylan Gabriel ready. That's it.
What am I missing? Listen to what I'm saying. You had Dylan Gabriel at number two. You got Joe Flacco. He was the priority. So now you're going to make Dylan Gabriel the priority, and you're telling me that I can't argue the fact that Shador should move into number two. So whatever little reps that Dylan Gabriel was getting at the number two spot, so Shador can start getting those reps. You're telling me that I'm not. That's not the right way to do this. What do you
It's
Nope.
mean?
not.
Of course
It's
it
not.
Nope.
is.
It's not happening this week.
No, it's
You say it
mid-season,
can't
Harry.
happen next week. It can happen the week after the week. They're going overseas, Harry. They only have so much
But
time.
it
The
is
team is
okay. So
the
I'll
team
buy
is
that
only
argument. But
allowed
you know the Cleveland Browns are
the
not moving
the
him next week.
team
You
the
know that.
team the team is only allotted so much practice time during the week. So if the focus is, hey, we need to get Dylan Gabriel ready. Okay, well, let's get Dylan Gabriel ready. They don't have time to get Shador ready because they only have so much time during the week. That's capped by
Okay,
the
fine,
CBA. They can't
fine.
just
But
work
okay, you
24
still
So,
hours
got
a
him on
so,
the
day.
team.
It's
so,
capped.
so 100% of the reps are going to Dylan Gabriel because Flacco has been ready.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, Harry, why
I
what
get
is
it, but
the
you know that
default
the
in that?
Cleveland Browns organization is not going to put Shador when they come back to the United States. He's not going into that second spot.
No.
He's
And the
not.
best
Harry,
place, the best place for Shador Sanders to be, and
week 9.
for his development of timing and rhythm, is on the scout team. That's the best place for him to be.
And Wild Dog said it. When does their bye week come up? Week 9. That's when it comes up. That's probably when you'll see the move. I just said
Really,
that.
DC?
It'll be like
Really,
three,
DC?
it'll be 3 to
So
4 weeks from now, and you're gonna see headline Shador Sanders moving up to the second team. Da 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 da. Da. What does that mean for Shador Sanders and possibility of blah? All of that stuff gonna be floating across all the
Hey,
airways that
can
cover
I say something
sports.
real quick to that?
I'm not
Hey, can
buying
I
what
say
you're
something to
selling.
that real quick?
I'm selling. I'm selling what
Hey,
you're. What
Harry.
you're. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm not buying that.
I'm not buying it either.
Shador will not be moved up. Only way he'll be moved up to number two is if Joe Flacco decides he's gonna make a public service announcement to retire,
To
or
retire.
he get traded to a different team. And then if Deshaun Watson is somewhat in the vicinity of ready to go, he'll move to number one and Dylan Gabriel move to number two. That's why I
Oh
say
well.
We
that's
got
Nah,
two
why
DCs going on. One in
I
the
got
panel and
put,
one in the
I
chat.
got pushback. I got
When
pushback to that.
I'm
I
trying to
got
tell
pushback to
y'all.
that top.
when
Y'all gotta
Dylan
get off
Gabriel
this train of
when
he ain't ready. Oh please don't hurt him. Oh my God, he's
when
a soft box. Like come on man, stop this nonsense.
no no
We talking football, man.
when
Look,
No,
hey, listen, we got
nobody.
3 minutes. Everybody get their argument in. Let's start with Wild Dog. Everybody get your argument in, and we got 3 minutes. So everybody get at least 30 seconds or 45 seconds. Wild Dog, you
just
start. Make
just
your
an
best
example.
argument.
Just an example, because I see him going down his first big hit. When Dylan Gabriel, for an example, goes under concussion protocol, they'll bring Joe Flacco up and they'll bring Shador Sanders up to the numbers 2 spot. That's my example of how Shador can move up. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I'm not agreeing with that. I don't think it's not going to be that like no. JL Boxing, get your argument. You got a whole minute to yourself. Go ahead, give me your best argument or pushback or whatever you got.
My pushback is that
Try to
the
keep it under
Browns
45 seconds, at least 45 seconds,
got you.
please.
My pushback is the Browns have never made Shador a priority. Dylan Gabriel has been a priority. You've seen that since training camp. Who had the most amount of reps in training camp? That has been their priority. So when they're ready to move on from Dylan Gabriel, whether it be bad play or injury, then they're going to put Shador Sanders in a spot where he can start getting more reps so they can have him prepared. Because it's not a point of Shador's talent, it's a point of preparedness from the Cleveland Browns. They are not preparing him to be a starter right now. They're solely using him to prepare the rest of the team to get ready to go win football games or try to win football games. But they're not preparing Shador to be a starter. They're using his talents to prepare the defense to get ready. That's how I'm looking at it.
The
All right.
first team defense. So
The
don't let
first team
scout fool you.
defense. Yeah, the
That
first team
scout against the
defense.
first team defense.
Hey man,
That's
y'all
why
had your
Shador
minute, okay? You should have said everything you wanted to say in your minute. Todd Smith, go ahead, please.
Okay, Shador Sanders was a priority, whether it's from a financial standpoint, but I think Andrew Berry got his guy he wanted. Stefanski got his guy that he wanted. I'm not saying that Stefanski's going to be fired after if they lose in London, or if he bring Joe Flacco back into the to the forefront of everything. But I think Shador is going to get his opportunity to shine, and when he does, I feel like he's going to light it up. But I feel like Kevin Stefanski is going to be fired. Somebody's going to be fired, whether it's him and the GM or the GM and he stay. But I feel like somebody's going to end up getting fired behind this.
All right, DC, go ahead. You get your minute.
All right. I think that Shador will play this year. I think it will probably be latter because think about it. We didn't get into the conversation of how many games do they give Dylan Gabriel. I'm gonna say probably around 5, 6, and then I think that Shador will probably get that if Dylan doesn't look good. But I have to stress that I do think that Shador will get the time. Personally, as I am, I wish they would just go ahead and start him now. Give him the reps, put him in so we can get all of this over with. Because if he balls out, great. And if he doesn't ball out, which I hope he does, great, we will already have our answers to it. Because think about it. That's all our conversations are leading toward him doing good. And I think he's good. But again, I have zero faith in the Cleveland Browns. That's it.
So I'm going to accuse you of something and you can get me back later, okay? I think you just don't believe in Shador and you're trying to use the Cleveland Browns to cover up. That's just what I believe. But here's my final thought. Hey, DC, get at me later. Get me back later. I don't care how you get me. Anyway, so listen, man, I think y'all need to drop this notion of, hey, he's not ready. He's not ready because y'all are going to be the same football people who argue other people to be ready. DC, you're in the chat and you're saying, well, yeah, you got to stay ready. So you're counter arguing in the chat, but then on the panel, you're telling me, oh no, Shador Sanders should not go in because he's not ready. He doesn't have the reps. So please help me to understand my limited football mind to really understand this, because at the end of the day, you are hired to be ready, to stay ready. You are an NFL player. You have to stay ready at the end of the day. You are given the playbook and you have to learn the playbook. Okay, regardless of how many reps you're getting with the first team, if they give you any chance, you better know that playbook. And when they give you a chance and they got to call the same plays, whether it's on the practice squad, whether it's on the prepare squad, whatever squad they put you on to get ready, you better know those plays, because those people are acting like Stefanski. They're mimicking Stefanski and they're opening up the playbook. So when they realize that you don't have the plays down, then they're going to have a talk with you, or you're going to get off this team. because they know that they cannot open up the playbook because you ain't been learning the plays. So that's one aspect that I feel like we're forgetting, that it seems like because you don't have the first team reps or they're not prioritizing you, that you don't have to stay ready, that you don't have to prepare and know the playbook. We're acting like Shador is not required as a professional to learn the playbook and to be ready, because those players and those coaches that are outside of Stefanski, they're calling the same plays and they're reporting back to Stefanski and saying, yes, he has certain plays. If we can open up the playbook, can we do that? They have to go back to him and say yes or no. So all of y'all group y'all together, give y'all one slap and say, please miss me with this "he ain't ready" stuff. Miss me with that when he himself has said, I'm ready, and that caused a lot of controversy in the media. So if the man himself is telling you that he's ready to play right now, so who are you to say that he's not ready? I'll give you 10 seconds each to answer that, and then we out of here. Everybody gets 10 seconds.
Tommy Rees gets to decide that. The QB coach there gets to decide that, right? We can say whatever we want to say, but that OC and that QB coach gets to make that call or who they feel is ready or not.
Copy that. Todd Smith, you can talk back. You got 10 seconds. Go.
I agree with you on that, Harry. And my final statement would be, are the lights dimming in Colorado?
Brother, those lights, the light bulbs have been getting popped.
Hey, real quick, Tim, you ever seen the Thriller video, how dark it was?
Very dark.
Bro,
Man,
it's close
y'all
to
chill out,
midnight.
man.
It's close
Chill
to
out.
midnight.
Harry
Sound the
said
equal.
10 seconds. DC repeating on everybody else's time. Ty interjecting new stuff to talk about.
I know he want to
See?
start a new show. I told Todd I said, Todd, hey, look, send me whatever you want to send me. He sent me one question things. I'm leading the show with Todd's suggestions. And Todd, you supposed to just let it all out in the emails. Go ahead, Wild Dog. Todd said there's a lot to talk about. Next time I'm gonna ask you, what do you want to talk about? Go ahead, Wild Dog.
Again, I have not said the words, or nor do I have the belief that Shador Sanders is not ready. Because I see Shador Sanders in the QB room, in the front row, with the entire playbook, getting mentally prepared like he's going to play the game. But again, being mentally prepared to play the game is separate from being able to execute on the field. You need to have a combination of both. And we know the second part is what he's lacking. So again, the best place for him to be is on the scout team, going up against.
Lacking because he's not lacking. He is getting some physical reps, so he's not totally lacking. He's lacking some.
If you let me finish. So again, executing the playbook on the field. That's what I'm saying. Mentally ready with the playbook versus executing on the field on the playbook. And that's why I feel the best place for him to be and where he's been is on the scout team, executing plays, whether it's another team's play or not, executing plays against the first team defense. Thank you.
Yeah, my outlook on it is still on the Browns' head and Kevin Stefanski as far as them having him prepared. Look, taking those reps matter, man. It depends on the receivers you throwing to, depending on to the running backs you handing off with, depending on with the line of scrimmage you're working with when it comes to protections and calls and all of that stuff. All of that is unison. And you know the one factor that's not included in that is Shador. He not getting those reps with first team, people. So should they move him up? Yes. I feel they're gonna move him up probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. When they're looking at the player Dylan Gabriel to see, all right, well, we really ain't going nowhere with this either. So let's see what this other guy that we drafted, let's see what he got. Because they really need to evaluate where the organization is. Because right now they're trending going towards picking in the top half of the draft again. So
I'm gonna let Quinlito's way. I'm gonna let Quinlito's way have the last word. When your name is called, You got to be ready, or you go home. So let's go home. Thank you for coming on
Deuces.
the panel, guys. I appreciate y'all. God bless. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.